Hello everyone, back into our first ENSO update of 2020. So it's been a little while since we've done an ENSO update. The last one was back in August, and then of course it got merged with the winter updates, as ENSO always forms a big part of the winter updates. So this is the first ENSO update on its own that we've done since August. And I'll bring you up to date with what's happening in the Equatorial Pacific Ocean in terms of El Nino, La Nina, and all of that kind of thing. And then we will see what some of the models are forecasting for the next few months as we go into the spring and then on into the summer of 2020. So I'll get on with that for you very shortly. Just to say that it's been a busy day at Gas Office today. 2 videos up already. So first of all, of course, January, Friday, that's the month end look ahead with Japanese and CFS V2 models, and also week to 10-day video update as well with all of the regular features. Please check out those videos when you are done with this one. There's going to be a lot coming up over the weekend as well, including Solar Sunday on Sunday. So that's going to be quite an interesting watch, I think. Right then, so let's go on. We're going to start off with the cold and warm episodes by season chart from CPC and NCEP, and also from NOAA as well. So this is depicting each individual El Nino and La Nina event that we've had right way back to 1950 on a tri-monthly basis. So starting off with the year of 1950, we can see that this was a La Nina year. Actually, we have these negative blue numbers here. They are numbers that are reflecting a La Nina event with those blue numbers just there. 1953 to 1954 was an El Nino year. Only weak El Nino, but we had these red, slightly positive numbers there. That's depicting El Nino through those tri-monthly periods of the year. As we scroll down, we can see that we get the Super Nino, for example, of 97, 98 showing up here. So there's 1997, there's 1998, these very, very positive numbers that we have in these boxes just here, like plus 2.4, plus 2.44, plus 2.2. That's the Super Nino of 97, 98, quickly reversing into the moderate La Nina of 98, 99. See how those red colours change to blue, and the whole of 1999 actually was a La Nina year, as was the whole of 2000 as well. Very prolonged La Nina after that Super Nino. Well, let's come down to the latest year, 2019. Of course, we haven't got 2020 appearing here yet. It will quite shortly. So the last year that we have with this is 2019. So 2019, winter of 2018, 2019 is a weak El Nino type year. So we have these red coloured numbers appearing here at the end of 2018, and they carry on through the first half of 2019 as well. In the tri-monthly period for June, July, August, actually for summer 2019, we see that the red goes back to black and we go neutral. So that number just there and the ones after it are ENSO neutral numbers. This one is quite interesting though, the very latest that we have, and this will be updated quite shortly I think, but the very latest we have is for October, November, December. And you can see that that number, although it is black, it's at 0.5. That's an important number. To have an El Nino or a La Nina designator, you have to be either half a degree above or half a degree below average, either 0.5 positive or 0.5 negative. So that number there for the tri-monthly period of October, November, December, that does actually get us to El Nino threshold. So on its own, that gets us to an El Nino. However, what you also have to do is run those numbers. Excuse me, you have to run those numbers half a degree or more above average over 5 tri-monthly periods. So if we was ever to get an El Nino designated, this box that's going to be placed here would have to be at or above half a degree above average, as would this one just there, and this one, and this one too. So the tri-monthly period of February, March, April, if that and the other three before it came out at half a degree or more above average, then we would have a designated El Nino and the numbers would go red. So although this number that we have just here, 0.5 for October, November, December, does get us to El Nino threshold, it does get us there, I think it is quite unlikely still that we will have an El Nino designated, because my assumption is that we may probably fill this one in with a positive number, a slightly positive number, and maybe even that one too. That'll be 3, but I think we'll struggle to do 4 and 5. So in the end, I think those numbers will stay black, because we will not be able to run that half a degree or more temperature above average over the 5 tri-monthly period. So it's been a kind of ENSO neutral winter, but certainly on the very positive side of ENSO neutral and sort of borderline El Nino. Now, when we signed off on the winter updates, this was the last chart that we had. Of course, the ENSO region is this area just here through the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So we've got Peru just there, and we've got Indonesia over here. Of course, this is the equator of the Pacific Ocean just there. So that's the region of the ocean we're interested in. And this is how sea surface temperature anomalies through the ENSO region looked when we signed off on the winter updates. When we signed off on winter updates last, not last week, at the end of November, some time ago now, actually, since we signed off on the winter update. So that's how the ENSO region looked then. Let's see the very latest from NOAA and see how things have changed since the 28th of November, and this is it for the 30th of January. So you can see we have remained really at ENSO neutral. Actually, through the equatorial Pacific Ocean itself, there has been very little change. We have remained on the warm side of ENSO neutral. And if we go back to how things looked at the end of November, that's how they look through the end of November, go forwards to now. Very little change is evident in the equatorial Pacific Ocean itself. We have seen the non-Pacific Ocean cooling down a little bit. This area up here has got a bit colder, certainly where it's compared to where it was at the start of this winter. Excuse me, get a bit of a tickling throat. So that area has cooled down a little bit, and we still have this area of colder than average sea surface temperature anomalies to the south of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, but through the equatorial Pacific itself, actually very little change. So this is ENSO neutral, I think, but at the warm side of ENSO neutral. Also slightly Modoki in terms of El Nino, in that this area through the western part of the Pacific Ocean has been warmer than this area to the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So yes, I suppose a little bit on the Modoki side in terms of El Nino. We call that a Modoki El Nino when it's warmer through the central and western part of the Pacific Ocean compared to this area just here. We call that a Modoki El Nino. But I think overall ENSO neutral is where we've been, but on the warm side of ENSO neutral. And quite substantially on the warm side of ENSO neutral as well. This is how things are looking subsurface wise. This is from the CPC, NCEP and NOAA PDF. This gets updated every week. You do need Adobe to be able to open this file as it's a PDF. But this gets updated every week. There's always loads and loads of fascinating information to be gleaned. So if you think that this is kind of like the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean just here, that's like the surface of the ocean. This is how things are looking at depth in the Pacific Ocean. So that would be kind of like the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean just there, and then we would have Peru just there. We would have Indonesia over here, and then these are the depths of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Very deep ocean, of course, going down to around 300 meters. So we can see that actually we've got quite a large area of above average subsurface temperature anomalies here in the western part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, between around the surface and going down to a depth of around 150 meters. So in that area, actually the subsurface temperature anomalies are quite warm. Still perhaps a little bit indicative of El Nino type state, really. Under that, though, we have got a gathering area of colder than average, or slightly colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies at depths of around 100 to 200 meters in the far western part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. I mean, over onto the eastern side of the Pacific Ocean, you see how those warmer than average subsurface temperature anomalies just sort of fizzle out. So they are very much from like 150 degrees west. They're in this sort of area, and to the east, actually, we see that overall the subsurface temperature anomalies are very close to average. There is a small area of quite significant cold average subsurface temperature anomalies just there, but that is a very small area at the moment. So, again, I think this is all indicative of being an ENSO neutral, really, although, again, slightly Modoki in pattern in that it's warmer here in the western part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, and then cooler just here in the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. That is slightly Modoki in nature, but I don't think the temperature anomalies really get to the kind of thresholds that would take us into a designated El Nino or a designated Modoki El Nino. It's quite complicated, though, how these temperature anomalies have developed through this winter. It has been quite a complicated winter in terms of what the ENSO region has been doing. This is the Southern Oscillation Index. This is from Queensland Government, which is part of the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia. The SOI is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. So when the SOI is measuring the air pressures between Darwin in Australia and Tahiti in the South Pacific Ocean. So when the SOI is in its when it's in its positive state, when the SOI is posting positive numbers, then the atmospheric state is going to be reflective of a La Nina type setup. So a positive SOI is kind of an atmospheric setup that will be reflective and sometimes will be supportive of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, though, that is when the atmospheric setup in the Pacific Ocean is reflective of an El Nino, and can be supportive of an El Nino if the subsurface and sea surface temperature anomalies in the equatorial Pacific Ocean are conducive to that. So if we scroll down, we can have a look at the numbers. We're going all the way back to New Year's Day with this. These are all provisional, but they don't tend to get changed all that much, actually, in reality. So these are our air pressures, of course, 1011.94 millibars and 1008.85 millibars, measuring the air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. And that gives us an SOI number overall of -7.16. That's the atmospheric state in an El Nino type setup. 2nd of January has an SOI of -17. So really quite strongly El Nino type setup there. But a couple of days later, we go really quite positive with the SOIs. On the 4th of January, we're at +11. 5th of January, we're at +18. 6th of January, we're at +18 again. That's the atmospheric state being very reflective of a La Nina type setup. So swinging between El Nino and La Nina is essentially what the atmosphere has been doing through this season, through this winter, I suppose, for the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, it's been the summer, of course. And when we're swinging in this way between El Nino and La Nina states, then overall we just finish up around neutral. And so this is very indicative of being in ENSO neutral, with neither the El Nino or the La Nina atmospheric setup being able to get a true foothold. We get more negativity of the SOI just here, 15th of January at minus 11, 16th of January at minus 13, 17th of January at minus 16. Again, these are very much reflecting an El Nino type atmospheric state. But as we scroll up to the latest numbers, we can see that actually the SY is going positive again overall. So 24th of January comes out at plus 10, 25th of January comes out at plus 4. Then we have a couple of sort of neutral type days, 26th, 27th of January, just minus 1.50 and minus 0.56. They're pretty much ENSO neutral. And then the 28th of January goes positive again at plus 8. The 29th of January goes even more positive at plus 11. And the 30th of January is positive at plus 7.8. Gradually, it looks like the SOI is beginning to move towards a more positive type state. If we come up to here, this is showing the 30-day average for the Southern Oscillation Index. You can see there has been quite a dramatic movement really through January. So the month begins down here with the 30-day SOI. Begins very negative at between minus 8 and minus 10. But look where it is right now. It's gone all the way up to neutral. In fact, just into slightly positive territory, somewhere between around 0 and 2 on the scale. That is quite a dramatic movement, and a lot of that has happened actually in the sort of final or the second half of the month, because around mid-month we was just there, still quite negative, around minus 6. It's really since then, really in the last couple of weeks, that the SOI has definitely started trending significantly more positive with its 30-day average. The 90-day average, which is this sort of yellow dash line, that isn't moving very much yet, because that has much further to go, if you see what I mean, before it would start to move. This encompasses the last 3 months, whereas the 30-day average only encompasses the last month. So it will take a little while for that one to start moving. But if this sort of switch to a slightly more positive SY was to continue into February and March, then we would definitely see the 90-day average beginning to move as well. So is the atmosphere beginning to start to move into a rather more sort of La Nina type-esque setup? Let's see what the CFS V2 is forecasting then in terms of the ENSO region 3.4 for the next few months. So again, it's the same idea with this. We've got the dates along the bottom of the chart in monthly periods. So that's where we are now in January. That's April, that's July, and that's going all the way out to October. Temperature anomalies are along the side. So when we're in an El Nino, we'll be up here. When we're in a La Nina, a cold event, we'll be down there. So you can see where we're starting off at for January. We're around there. So we're sort of somewhere around ENSO neutral to, yes, just into weak El Nino type threshold. Remember, this is our all-important half a degree above average. This is our all-important half a degree below average. If you're there or on either side of half a degree above, half a degree below, then you're either in an El Nino or a La Nina, as long as you stretch out over the required 5 tri-monthly periods. So for the next month, it looks like the CFS is forecasting temperatures to actually lift up ever so slightly further into February. But then you can see there is quite a pronounced drop in the sea surface temperature anomaly being forecast there as we go through towards the summer. Does look as though the CFS V2, remember this is half a degree below average, so it looks as though, what's me like, I'm a bit wonky, it looks as though somewhere around June, July, CFS is forecasting us to go into a slight La Nina, slight cold event, and then the CFS wants to develop that further as we go towards October. It's only quite a weak La Nina at the moment being predicted, down to around 1 degree below average by October. The coloured lines are quite interesting. So the blue lines on this chart are the more recent ensemble members. The red lines are the latest ones. So you see the more recent ensemble members tend to be these ones around here, which are possibly going something a little bit stronger actually at the moment in terms of this potential for a La Nina to develop through the spring and into the summer. That's region 3.4. I'll just explain about the regions. So, again, to get these El Nino or La Nina events designated, is particularly the central part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean that we look at, which is region 3.4, which is sort of this area just here. So that's sort of 3 and 3.4. Over here, this is like 1 and 2. We call this 1 and 2. And then just here over towards the Indonesian side, that's kind of like region 4. So the western part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean is region 4. The eastern part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean is 1 and 2. And the middle, the central part, and that's the area we look at to get these events designated again. The central part is 3.4. So that's the forecast for the central part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean. If we have a look at 1 and 2, though, this is what the CFS is forecasting for regions 1 and 2. And actually, it is going into like a La Nina type setup as early as around the middle part of the spring. So again, this is where we are right now, somewhere around here. In the next month, into February, it's forecasting things to pick up a little bit more and go to around there, close to 1 degree above average. But after that, you notice how the black dash line should be on some of me. That drops quite quickly, very quickly actually. So, but by April and May, we're around here, close to La Nina threshold, and then into the summer, we keep a weak La Nina going through the summer and into the autumn. Again, we see that the blue coloured lines, which are the latest ensemble members, tend to be down here. They're a little bit stronger, sort of going for a moderate La Nina. So at the moment, the CFS wants to produce a cold event, wants to produce a La Nina starting in the spring and sort of getting going properly in the summer. And for certainly that eastern part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean towards Peru, it is quite a quick transition. This is how the temperature, sea surface temperature on is being forecast by the CFS V2. This is for February, but you can see that in February the model is definitely forecasting sort of ENSO neutral to slight El Nino type conditions in February. But look how things change as we get through to July. That's what the model is forecasting by July. That's a definite signal for La Nina. Again, there's Indonesia over there, there's Peru over there. This is a definite signal for a La Nina to be developing from the CFS. It's only one model, though. CFS wants to take us into a La Nina, but only one model. What about the ECMWF? Well, that is not seeing, at the moment, the chance of a La Nina. That just wants to keep us really on the warm side of ENSO neutral. So again, with this, it's the same idea. We've got the temperature anomalies along the side. We've got the dates in monthly periods along the bottom. Again, looking at region 3.4, that's central part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean. Having a job to get my tongue around that tonight. Yes, this is where we are right now. So this is 1 degree above average. This is bang on neutral, 0. And this is 1 degree below average. So as we are right now, we are sort of there. We're on the threshold, on the borderline between ENSO neutral on the warm side to actually just about managing to grow away into an El Nino. The ensemble plume with this ranges from around here by the time we get through to the summer. So these are our warmest ensemble plume members up here, of course. They're into weak El Nino threshold. These are our coldest ensemble plume members. These are into ENSO neutral on the cold side to borderline weak La Nina type territory. Most ensemble plume members are in this sort of area just here. And then go further out towards there through the summer. So most of them, again, ENSO neutral, on the warm side of ENSO neutral, just really seeing a continuation of what we've been in through this winter. The ECMWF is not seeing at the moment either, particularly an El Nino or a La Nina either. It just wants to keep us at ENSO neutral through to the summer, on the warm side of ENSO neutral. This is Jamstec, the Syntex F model. So again, very similar to what the ECMWF is doing as well with Jamstec. Same idea. We've got the temperature anomalies on the side, The dates are on the bottom. This is half a degree above average. This is half a degree below average. And that's 1 degree above average. That's 1 degree below average. So where we're starting off at right now in January, ENSO neutral to just about clawing our way into El Nino territory around that half degree above average threshold. The red line is ensemble mean, and that just flatlines away there around the warm side of ENSO neutral until the end of the year. 1 or 2 ensemble blue members are going up here into a weak El Nino. A couple are going down towards a very slight La Nina. That's by the autumn. Not a great deal of deviation, though. Most of these ensemble blue members are just keeping things going similar to the ECM at around ENSO neutral. So CFS wants a La Nina to develop through the spring and summer. ECM and Jamstack say no, we just stay around ENSO neutral through to the summer. CAN6 is also looking quite interesting, though. This is from chocolatetidbits.com. This is the sea surface temperature anomaly forecast from CAN6 for February. So again, very much around ENSO neutral through this equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean. But if I take you through to July, look what CAN6 does. Get through to July. Yes, similar to what the CFS is showing. It takes us into that La Nina signature with that blue area expanding out across the equatorial Pacific Ocean. That's a definite signal for La Nina. Very similar, as I say, to what the CFS is showing by July as well. So we've got the CFS and CAN6 both saying that we're moving towards the La Nina through the spring and into the summer. ECM and Jamstack both want to keep us around ENSO neutral, on the warm side of ENSO neutral, and possibly just sort of borderline ENSO neutral to a slight El Nino condition. So it's very early days with this, of course. We're in the winter, so we've got to get through the spring predictability barrier, which is a period of the year when model reliability really goes awry in terms of ENSO, and then by the time we get through to June, July, we should know where we're going. This is something we saw in the autumn, of course. There was this divergence between some of the models that wanted to generate a weak La Nina like through the autumn and into this winter. Other models said, no, we'll just stay at ENSO neutral, go to slight El Nino. In the end, we stayed at ENSO neutral and went to slight El Nino. So I wouldn't take these forecasts for La Nina all that seriously at the moment. I think we need to see more developments, really, in terms of the sea surface and subsurface temperature anomalies, in terms of colder than average areas expanding out. But it is quite a strong signal from the CFS, and it's quite unusual for the CFS to be that bullish about a La Nina, because normally the CFS tends to be more towards El Nino, if anything. So quite unusual to see the CFS that bullish about a La Nina at this point of the year. I think the last time I can remember that happening was around the beginning of 2007, maybe, when, and of course, we did flip into a very rapid onset La Nina through the spring and summer of 2007. We know what that summer was like during that La Nina flip. So this could be very important for the summer if this La Nina does get going quickly through the spring. But at the moment, it's only a couple of models going for it. We'll see in next month's update whether any of the other models begin to shift towards La Nina, or whether the CFS and CAN6 back away from the idea of a La Nina. It's all food for thought, and I hope you found the video interesting and informative. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Gas Weather's YouTube channel, if you want to see more content like this. It's uploaded to the YouTube channel and posted to gasweathers.com as well. Give us a thumbs up on the video and let us know that you have enjoyed it. Right, so just under half an hour, quite a long one, but I've got a lot of setting up to do with this. Hopefully the subsequent ENSO updates won't be as long as this. Now we've set everything up. But just under half an hour, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.